I credit Jose with always fighting for his client. I have some difficulties with how he did it at some points, but he was always fighting for her, and there was never a time when I got the impression that he wavered in that. But I'm assuming, like anybody else, he looked at the evidence at some points and saw what everybody else saw.
Well, you're being very polite now, but let's face it. In your book, Imperfect Justice, it's very clear there was no love lost between you and Jose Baez. And, of course, we have to remember the whole laughing guy incident from the closing arguments. And you say in your book, I genuinely dislike Jose Baez. There is an unearned air of arrogance about the man. He is slick, underhanded, and doesn't shoot straight. Jose Baez has reacted now, and he is saying, I am both surprised and somewhat disappointed he has chosen to attack me on a personal level. This was an extraordinarily complicated case. So much of what happened behind the scenes has not yet been made public. When I decide to tell my story, you can be certain I will not be personally attacking Mr. Ashton. Got to ask you a slightly tough question here.
Sure.
It could be perceived as sour grapes to attack Jose Baez. Why do you decide to attack him?
Well, two answers to that. There's very little I expressed in the book that I didn't express during the trial. I was not subtle in my comments before the court about Mr. Baez's level of honesty and candor with the court. My other thought was, if people are going to pay money to buy and read this book, they deserve to know the truth as I saw it. I thought it was important in the book to state my bias at the outset, because people need to read my comments knowing how I feel. But, what I've written in there is what I felt, what I thought, and
Can
the
you
truth.
give me an example of his underhandedness?
Well, the most egregious example is what he did to Cindy Anthony. When he knew that the Casey story was going to come out through the shrinks to us, he scheduled a meeting with Cindy only. And rather than tell Cindy the full story of what Casey was going to say about George, he merely told her that Casey had died at the house and nothing more.
Kaylee, yeah.
Kaylee, yes.
That's right.
That Kaylee had died at the house. But he went further. He went further and told her that the state was investigating George for some involvement in the death and the disappearance of Kaylee, which was absolutely false, 100% false. And to me, that was not only obviously a huge lie, but was just cruel to take this woman who had, against all logic, held on to this hope that her granddaughter had not died in the hands of a family member, and to tell her, oh, by the way, that hope you've had for 2 years, it was wrong. She died in your house. And by the way, your husband is going to be in trouble. To me, that was just cruel beyond imagination.